Okay, looks like we have connected. And hi Mrinali, how are you? Very quick to join in. How is the lockdown going in Malaysia? Have you guys started to work or the lockdown is still being implemented? Hi Mohini, I'll just send you the request. Hi Akavar. How are you guys doing? I hope you all are safe and sound. Wait till Mohini joins us here. Okay. Why has Mohini left? Looks like some network issue. Oh, we'll just wait till Mohini joins back. Hi Mohini.
Hello, can you all
Finally
hear
got
me?
connected. Yes, yes, perfectly good. And we'll just wait for a minute or two till Instagram notifies. Hi, how are you doing? Mohini, your video is little laggy. It's little laggy.
Okay, now is it
But
better?
you can just slow down. Yeah, better, definitely better. So how are you
Great,
doing?
great.
Are you
I'm
working
good.
or
Thank you so
lockdown
much,
at
Dr.
home?
Harish.
Yes, yes, most welcome.
No, I'm absolutely at home in lockdown.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yes,
okay. So we'll wait for a minute or two. I think Instagram will notify
sure,
people to just check and it will take a couple of minutes to join in.
sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Take your
yeah.
time. That's okay.
Perfect. So you're managing to
So,
do
how
the
is
video
everything going on?
yeah, yeah, everything is good. So you're managing to consult your clients online or someone who needs assistance.
Yes, so we are very much into tele-intervention now. I am doing video sessions for the families who are having difficulties at home. To some
Right,
parents,
right,
we have given home programs and they are working on the home programs. Some parents who are not very used to this absolute working independently with their kids, for them,
right,
we are doing tele-intervention
right.
so that they don't feel lost at
I
this
can.
crucial time.
Yeah, Shrita, we miss you too. How are you doing, Ash? How are you, Meena ji? Good to see you live back today. How is Akash? Okay, so good evening, everyone. Hi, Anush. Hi, Anush Sharma. Thanks for joining in. So I can see people are just joining in. So hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining for today's live session. This is Dr. Harish, and we all know we have started this live series to cope up with the lockdown. And we have had many experts joining this live series and addressing many concerns for parents coping up, this lockdown with their kids' problems related to rehabilitation. And when it came to, I wanted to do something related to speech and language therapy, and utilize this period to understand how important it is to communicate really. And that's how we managed to choose this topic. And if there are any questions, do put it forward, and then we can take it ahead. So let's go ahead.
Definitely, I'm in.
Yeah. So I'll
Let's go
have
ahead.
questions for you. It would be nice if
Yes.
you could give me a short intro. I didn't get much time to go through your profile, and it was a
Okay.
hurry thing. So I know you're a founder. You're doing a lot of work in speech and language therapy. But if you can just, brief out to the viewers where you're based and what you are exactly into your specialization.
Okay. So I'm Mohini Shah, and I'm a audiologist and speech language therapist. I majorly practice in Mumbai, and I have founded and I am the director of Arambh Speech and Hearing Clinic. And my major focus of work is pediatric audiology, wherein I look up to hearing disorders and diagnosis and management. And along with that, I take care of uh, kids with autism, kids with cerebral palsy, kids with cognitive delay. So
Right.
this is a brief introduction of myself.
Right. Thank you so much. So it was your topic, you came up with the idea to highlight the importance of communication. So based on that topic, we have been interacting with parents, and I put out some questions for you, and we'll wait if there are any
Okay.
questions here online which pops up related to any areas related to speech, communication, hearing, or anything related to developmental delays. Yeah. So I'll be asking you
Sure.
questions, and you can, put your views and see how we can take it ahead. So what is communication according to you? How important it is to communicate with each other, and especially when it comes to children?
Now, this is a very interesting question. Now, we all know that communication is the fundamental thing on which our relationships, our expressions are dependent on. So,
Right.
if we communicate efficiently, our messages, our needs, our experiences, our whatever we are feeling, it gets communicated very easily. Inversely, if we are not communicating effectively, we face frustration, we face anger that we are not able to understand, or we are not being able to understood, right? So communication is hence very, very important and plays very pivotal role in determining our success as well. So whatever age we belong to, communication is the most important thing.
Right, right. So even when dealing with children with special needs, especially who are non-verbal, we see only one-sided,
Hmm.
communication from the parents towards the children. And because of this,
Hmm.
so we have seen so much of instances where children get into phase of aggression because they also want to communicate. And I
Correct.
think communication is always give and take, where two people share their thoughts or whatever it could be. So yeah, definitely
Hmm.
communication is so important, and let's see how we can understand in a more detailed way. So tell me something, how can communication go wrong, which can impact the child's development?
Um, so suppose if so basically when it is a child, okay, now we all know that the child is always going through a critical period of development. There is always a critical period in the child's developmental phase wherein whatever we feed to the child's brain, the child understands. So in this phase, suppose if we are not able to effectively communicate with the child, or we are not providing the child with a rich language environment, the child will hence will have deficits in their communication development. The child will not be able to understand what the person is talking to him or the child will not understand how he or she should be able to communicate with their family members. So hence, wrong communication or something that is feeding the child with the wrong information, with the wrong concepts, the child will learn that maybe for it's like a habit. You teach the child the right things at the right time, or else it's just something like the child will just learn and use for the rest of his life.
Right, right, right. Very important. I think communication becomes a very fundamental bridge between building up
Hmm.
relationships and how the child is going to even, interact with his peer group, engage with the environment. So I think this is one key area which
Right.
can actually hamper other areas of development which otherwise would not have affected, I believe. So, okay, Mohini, let's
Hmm.
go to the next question. How important it is to
Hmm.
listen or understand what children want to convey, especially in non-verbal children, kids. We always end up one-sided of communication in such children. How do you think we can work on that?
This is very again interesting question here, Dr. Harish. Now, this is the most common situation that we as speech language pathologists majorly face during our sessions with the parents. So, it is very, very important on first hand to be equally good listener than what we are expecting our child also to be. So all the time expecting only your child to hear and listen and follow you, it is equally important that even we uh, give them the lead and we follow them. We try to understand them. So there are many times that the child has the communicative intent. The child wants to communicate something, but just because the child doesn't have enough vocabulary, the child is being misunderstood for being stubborn, for being having behavioral issues, wherein the child is actually trying to communicate. So for the parents who have any kids who are still struggling to communicate, please try to be patient with them. Please try to understand what are the behaviors with which they are trying to communicate. They are facing equal frustration just like you. They are not finding it easy. They are struggling themselves to communicate what their experiences are, what feelings they are going through. So yes, understanding a non-verbal child is very, very, very crucial for any parent.
Right.
And,
So Mohini,
and non-verbal, yeah, sorry,
no, no,
go ahead.
please go ahead. No, no, please go ahead.
Non-verbal communication can mean anything from the child's side. The child might just try to point on some things that he or she wants. The child might just get irritated when you are not able to understand him or her. The child might just throw tantrums, okay,
Right.
for which we consider that the child has any behavioral issues, but the child is trying to communicate something. So understand first why that child is doing that particular thing rather than just judging and taking out some inference from that child's behavior.
Right, right. So Mohini, I can see based on what you were discussing about that, I can see two questions. So let's address one
Mm-hmm.
question. I'll read it for you. So it's
Sure.
mentioned here, ma'am, I have seen so many sessions, uh, so many special educators and speech pathologists doing the same. How are speech strategies different from special education?
Very good question. Now here, the speech language pathologist will always work on the concepts of language. He or she will not try to teach the language to the child.
Right,
The speech therapist will always use different strategies. The speech therapist will use play method. The speech therapist will use either, depending on the child's severity of the condition, the therapist might introduce something like non-verbal communication strategies. So the therapist will always try to see how and what can help the child best to learn the communication skills. Whereas the special educators will work more on the academic concepts. They will try to teach the academic parts. So it is completely different from speech therapy. But a very
right.
good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, definitely. So there's one more question. So the question is, can you
Mhm.
suggest some low-tech device which parents can use at home for non-verbal kids?
Um, Low-tech devices can be as simple as pictures. Okay, so if you have any pictures, any objects that are being used in general um, uh, day-to-day environment, so pictures like having as simple as plates, spoon, pictures that have cars, like toys, pictures that
Right,
have fruits, pictures that have vegetables, anything that is considering your child's vocabulary, you can use those. You can also use, if your child has good reading or writing skills, you can also use writing as a form of communication. It is also considered as one of the low tech forms of communication. And yeah, these are the few things that you can use. If you have to teach something like, say, family persons or anything, you can teach through the photographs. That this is your
right,
mama, this is your daddy, this is your nani, this is your dada. So that is how you can try to teach with low
right.
tech things.
Right. So I believe, so what I understand is every child will have their customized way, and you'll have to see the limitations and what the child
Correct,
is functionally able to do. He may be able to use certain
correct.
parts of limbs because I've seen many children who are intellectually good, but because of dystonia
Hmm.
and, with oromotor structures, they are not able to articulate.
Right,
They are able to type, they
right.
are able to point. So I believe it's all very customized and it needs a very good screening by the therapist,
Yes. So
very
as I
to
said,
conclude.
yes, as I said, it all depends on the severity of the communication disorder. Accordingly, you have to choose between the uh, strategies and technologies that are available with you, and
Right,
what can put the child go through much more difficulties than making it easy. So it
R-
has to be the child specific thing.
Right, right. So hi Shafaq, we can see Shafaq has joined us. She's also a speech and language pathologist all the way from London. And
Yes,
your queries
yes,
and
yes, yes.
suggestions would also be great, Shafaq, if you can post. The topic is about communication and its importance. So the next question, Moini, how do you
Hmm.
think parents can utilize this lockdown phase for children when it comes to communication as a part of learning, as a part of therapy, or as a part of building relationships? What is your opinion or suggestion for that?
I will honestly consider lockdown as a blessing. Okay, I always tell my parents that this is the time that you are never going to get back. So let's make the maximum of it. But at the same time, I also tell my parents that don't try to become the therapist, especially
Correct.
when you are attending a lot of speech therapy sessions. That time I tell them that please don't try to become the therapist, be the parent that you are, and just see how maximally you can stimulate the child with, and try to concentrate more on the concepts rather than just making the child learn ABCD, just making the child learn 1 2 3. That is not going to help long. Focused with, the more your child will develop their speech and language skills.
Right, right.
So I will tell them that during this lockdown, you have. So I always tell my parents that this is a time where you are available, where your husband is available, where your in-laws are available. Please try to take maximum help from them. This can help them to develop the relationships between a father and the child. This can help develop the relationships between the um, grandparents and the child. So during this lockdown, I'm not telling the mothers to do everything together. Okay,
Correct.
divide your roles. Maybe the mother can teach some concepts, maybe fathers can do bedtime stories, maybe grandparents can teach them different other things, like if they are assisting the mothers, if they are helping the mothers to do their daily chores, they can take help from these kids also. Simple activities like washing vegetables, because since
Right,
these days hygiene is the most important thing and we are all following it. So you
right.
can take help, you can teach them daily routines, you can teach them daily hygiene habits and overcome this lockdown phase.
Correct, correct. No, that point is very valid. In fact, this lockdown is definitely a blessing, and children are getting so much of quality time with all the family members, grandparents,
Right.
siblings, parents. And I think this is a good phase where the learning may actually accelerate. And if the family can come up
Yes.
together, as you said, where they share their roles and responsibilities, the child's motivation will be very high. Because it's usually the mother
Very
who are
high,
engaged
very.
in therapies and, household chores and looking at the work,
Mm.
pre-corona phase, this was how it was predefined. But involvement of father,
Yes.
grandparents would be really, really good, in fact, for the child's learning.
Yes, yes. And always divide the roles. It's not necessary that the only mother or only the
Correct.
father or only the grandparents will take care of it. If they divide the roles equally, probably this is the best thing that the child will have. And
Absolutely.
in fact, this is one good thing or one good observation that even parents have noticed, is that the child is has become more peaceful, mostly because they are getting the time of their parents
Correct.
nowadays. Since the parents are working, so the child always has difficulty in getting their own parents time. So
Correct. Correct.
during this lockdown period, the children are now appearing to be peaceful because they are getting parents all the time around them, and they're feeling
Yeah.
secured about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That makes a big difference, definitely. They are able to
Yes, yes,
focus better,
definitely.
being in a more comfortable and
Hmm.
assured environment. So, Moini, I can see a few questions online. So, I'll just ask what
Yes.
Meena ji put forward. So, the question is,
Hmm.
should parents speak in rhythmic tone with the child with autism whose interest is in more of rhymes and music?
um Yes, if the child is having like too much of inclination towards music, if you are trying, especially when you are trying to make the child understand some core concepts of the language, maybe rhythmic tone or a sing-song manner might help the child to some extent. But I also warn you to not overuse this, because if the child gets used to this pattern also, maybe the child will not pay much attention in future. So use this when it is actually required, and do not overuse this technique all the time.
Right. So the next question is, what activities or techniques would you suggest to begin therapy for a 3-year-old child with severe autism and is also hyperactive?
Okay, severe autism and is also hyperactive and
Yes,
3-year-old.
yes, yes.
Okay, so here first thing is I will always try to keep this child away from any gadget. Okay,
Okay,
this is the first thing that I will
very true.
always do. I will try to understand my child's strength first. Okay, if I know that my child is good at doing any particular thing, and especially it is lockdown period which has added to the child's frustration level, then I will always see the child's strength and try to strengthen those skills much more. So if I know that the child loves to fidget, if I know that my child is always fidgety and always try to go touch here and touch there, if my child has gone and by mistakenly touched any of my vessels, okay, is just trying to play with the vessels randomly, I will try and go and try to stimulate the child with that language. Okay, oh, what are you doing, my child? Are you playing with the spoon? It makes noise, and I will try to make some more noise with that spoon and try to get the attention of that child. Okay,
Right,
if my child is trying to look through, say, some books, I will try to introduce some kind of pictures and picture reading and some vocabulary with the help of that book. One thing is, try to follow the lead of your child. Okay, never try to boss them or don't try to dominate them right now. Okay, first try to follow their lead, and then once they are attentive to you, even for 2 minutes, take that lead and
right,
introduce another activity which that child may be interested in.
right, right. Very
And
informative
always,
indeed.
I will also suggest one very important thing here is, since you have mentioned that a child is 3 years old and is diagnosed with severe autism, please also take additional activities from your occupational therapist and combine the occupational therapist's activity with the speech therapist's activity so that it helps maximum to your child.
Right. Definitely. A combined effort would be definitely more, worth the try. So the next question is, how do you address problems related to children who are introvert and have difficulty to engage in forming peer-to-peer group relations?
Um, Okay, now a child who is introvert, I will first tell all the parents that please accept your child just the way he is. Don't try to introduce or don't try to push him all the time just because you want him to do well in this competitive world. Okay, even if you want to do that, please do it slowly, please do it step by step, so that we are not hurting the child's natural personality. Okay, this
Correct.
is something that let the child develop something naturally rather than by forcing the child to go through something which he is not liking as of now.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So I can see one more question here. Uh, okay. So the question is, I try to communicate with my daughter, but she's not responding to me. If I speak this or that, she says no.
How old is the child?
So the child is approximately 5 years old, if I'm not wrong, and she falls into category of developmental delay. She's cognitively on a better side, but she has a lot of
Mhm.
anxiety issues also.
Okay, so here you have the answer in your question only. So since the child has anxiety issues, I will say please go slow. Okay, even if your child says no, let's try to reason out why that child is running away from a particular command or a particular activity. Okay, always let's make this rule number one. Anything that your child does, try to reason out first rather than just judging them on that straight go. Okay, let's try to first reason out why that particular child is trying to behave that way. If we have understood that, then let's try to find out the solutions. Okay, if your child is saying no, is that child scared of that activity? Is there something that the child is not comfortable with something? Okay, so let's try to figure out that, and maybe you will get the answer on that.
Right, right, very true. Okay, so the next question is, this is a very important question actually, I feel. How do we build up or
Mhm.
encourage a child to be more open to communicate with their parents? We often see children hesitate or are fearful to share certain things with parents. Very important question.
Yes, definitely very important question, especially a child who is fearful. Again, let's be a role model for that child. Okay, if I if I'm a child and I'm scared to communicate with my own parents, I will expect that my parents first model, okay, what type or how can I communicate with them. Okay, so suppose if I'm scared, and if I'm scared, and on the contrary, if I'm still getting negative remarks, and if I'm still getting, say, corrections for everything I am doing, my cycle will become just vicious. I
Correct.
will be scared, I'm getting negative remarks, I'm again scared, I'm again getting negative remarks. As a parent, we have to break that cycle. Okay, we have to become more approachable towards our kids so that they also find us approachable at the same time. Okay, so if I am a parent and if I know that my child is not able to communicate because that child is scared, I may go down to his or her level and try to communicate in the best tone, in the best way I can. Even if the child is still not able to communicate, I won't give up on my patience at first. Okay,
Correct.
I will still I'll still keep on trying till the time my child tries to communicate even the most basic thing, and that is my success. That is actually my success. And then on you can build up on your communication. Then that's how you will build up the relationship between the parent and the child.
Right. No, one thing which I liked is, what you mentioned, like the negative remarks. And children are very
Mhm.
sensitive about everything, what feedback they are going to get. And parents are their role models end of the day. And it becomes like a
Mhm.
vicious cycle, when you do not respect the children's views, and that may just push them back to openly discuss and come back to their parents. So all these things are so
Mhm.
important. Family, comes together, communicates in a very transparent way, and positively accepts what the child's views are, respecting their whatever
Exactly.
they want to
Yes.
share. So the
Yes.
next question is, how can we manage echolalia and jargon speech?
Echolalia and jargon speech. Okay, here again you require lots of patience to manage that. Okay, so as a parent, again the thumb rule is do not give up. Okay, do not lose your patience when you are especially managing the echolalia and jargon. If you said get up, and if your child says get up, you get up. Okay, in front of your child. Okay, show that whatever the child said, it had meaning. Okay,
Right.
and here also modeling will always work. Okay,
Correct.
so if you told your child get up and child just repeated, you tell the same thing again in front of the child to a third person. And coming down back to my lockdown strategy, take help of every individual you have at home. You have fathers at home, take their help. Okay, try to do that role modeling between the father and yourself. Okay, so when you said get up and you said to the father will also get up. Do this a couple of times, the child will understand, okay, I have to follow this command, I don't have to repeat. Okay,
Correct.
and in this situation, always let the person who is trying to copy, suppose if I am saying get up and the father will say, I heard you mama, I am getting up, and the father will get up. Always point to the ears, I heard you mama, I heard you. Okay, so always this definitely helps the child to understand that, okay, this is something that I have to do rather than this. Okay, and mind you, echolalia and jargon increases more when you try to force your child to talk.
Correct.
Okay, so here I also come upon one more topic. Do not force your child to talk. Okay, instead become the model for them and try to teach them as many concepts so that they start talking by their own selves.
Right, right. Very true. I think self-learning is very important rather than imposed learning.
Yes,
That's what we end up doing in
right,
therapy. Try to impose so many things, and we see
right,
children are getting defiant and defiant. And in that bargain, the increase in the
right.
stress, and all this stress will also aggravate all the, speech concerns or issues what they have, be it stammering or echolalia or jargon speech or whatever, form of problems they have.
Hmm.
Okay. So what
Hmm.
alternate ways we can encourage to enhance communication in children who are nonverbal? When is it ideal to consider alternate form of communication and not focus on speech articulation?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat your questions?
Okay. So
I lost the track.
no worries. So the question is, what alternate ways we can encourage to enhance communication in children who are nonverbal? When is it ideal to consider alternate form of communication and not focus on speech articulation?
Okay, another great question. Now, coming to the first part of the question, what are the methods with which the non-verbal kid can
Correct.
try and communicate? So, these are called, in professional terms, these are called AACs, that is augmentative communication strategies. And this can be either through pictures, this can be either through, say, any low-tech devices like objects. Okay, if I'm a child, uh, I am not verbal enough to communicate my needs. I may just pick up something and show to my parents that this is something that I want. So I
Correct.
can do it with my objects around me. I can do it with the pictures around me. If I'm a very severely disabled child, say I have CP with quadriplegia, or say with cognitive delay, I might use gestures, I might use pointing, I might try to use facial expressions, I might just nod, I might just say yes, or I might just say nod. Okay, so these are the few ways that the child's needs can be communicated, especially when the child is completely non-verbal.
Right, right, right. So at what phase do you think we should start focusing on AAC and leave the speech part?
Uh, Now this is a very tricky question, Dr. Harish. Actually, if I have a child, I know uh, that the child's verbal language is very difficult to develop. I know that. I may immediately start with the AAC systems. I may immediately start with my non-verbal communication. If I see that the child has scope to develop speech and language skills, I may still wait and try to make the child learn the concepts with the additional help of the physiotherapists, occupational therapists, psychologists, and everything is working together, and still if the child is not developing adequately, I may then introduce the child with ASC.
Right. So it's just a thought which came in my mind. So do you think in such cases, where it's very tricky and, one side you're very positive, there may be a scope where the child may achieve speech, but that it's very unpredictable. We don't know how much we have to wait. So would it be advisable also to start AAC, at least to use as a part of learning where the child can interact with their teachers and
Yes, yes.
and still the speech can go on at home as a major part of stimulation. So would you advise that? So the child is more precise,
Yes,
in their
yes.
answer, and teachers also find it
Hmm.
easy to communicate by this AAC.
Correct, correct, correct. Well said. Yes, this is something that we can start, and side by side we can still work upon the speech and language skills as well.
Correct, correct. Okay. So I think that question got answered there. Okay. So the next question is, it's a long question. We don't use
Hmm.
affirmations much when we communicate with children. In most of the
Hmm.
time, we end up saying, don't do this, don't do that, etc., etc. But how do you think
Hmm.
affirmations can be used or should be used? Because that also matters in a very long run for their development.
Definitely, affirmations should be used a lot of times. Okay. Um, so suppose you give right examples. Most of the times we hear parents saying, "Don't do that, don't do this." I always tell my parents to say something that they are supposed to do. So suppose
Correct.
if the child is not supposed to jump around, you can say the child, you like don't tell the child don't jump. Okay, you can say the child maybe sit down. Okay, or maybe you can give the child the activity that you want that child to do, because see, he or she is a child, he or she needs movements all the time. Okay, we cannot expect a child to behave like us, otherwise what is the difference, right?
Right.
So we always tell the parents that it's okay, they are exploring, they are trying to understand the environment, so do not try to impose the ideal things on them. What you are doing right now is all through the things and experiences that you have gone in your childhood, so let your child also experience that same. And always use the affirmations, like suppose if the child has done a simple task of just giving you something, you can always say thank you, right? Thank you, you did a good job, you heard mama. Okay, so this
Correct.
is how you can do it, rather than over expecting the child, having over expectations from the child.
Right. No, no, very true what you said, use of affirmations. And last week we had a talk with Miss Kamini, who is an RDI consultant. There also she
Hmm.
mentioned rather than imposing and rather than restricting the child, dampening their intellectual capabilities, it's better you give them an option. If you don't want them to do certain
Yes,
things, give them an option what they are supposed to do rather than imposing,
correct.
ye karna hai, wo karna hai, and let them decide by themselves. Let's not restrict their intellectual capacity and the way they want to explore at this age.
Right, right. Because they
Right.
are still in their learning phases. It's
Correct.
just like, suppose I always give my parents this example also, that if you are a parent who are trying to learn something new skill, okay,
Correct.
and all the time you are just hearing this is wrong, this is not right, okay, all the time, what encouragement, what motivation would you still have to learn that skill? Won't you just give up? So just
Right.
imagine if the child is learning a new skill, the child is learning new, like the child is going through the developmental phase, and all the time, if you're just putting the negative things in the child's brain, the child might just give up. The child will say all the time, I'm just getting corrections. I'm not
Correct.
getting any affirmations. So
Correct.
I always encourage the parents, always use positive commands. But yes,
Right.
I also tell my parents that where the child is wrong, you can be stern, okay? That this
Right.
is not right, okay? So I'm not telling you to be lenient all the time. You can be stern, yet you
Right.
don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to, beat them. You can be stern with them, and yet have positive impacts on their development.
Right. It's just a positive way of disciplining them and making them realize,
Correct.
that's true. So tell me
Right,
something
right.
okay. So tell me something, does bedtime subconscious talk help children?
Definitely. Bedtime stories, I always say it's a must. You cannot sleep without your bedtime stories. You have to do that. Even if it is for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you have to do it because that is something that at the end of the day your child is sleeping with. That is the memory that your child might sleep with. Okay,
Correct.
so always let the child hear the positive things, and that is the time that the child is calm. So you can maybe teach a lot of things. You can have a lot of language skills at that time for your child.
Right, right. So there is a lot of research also which says, we as a humans, I was discussing in few sessions also back, that we as humans, we have a tendency to, behave, interact with the environment based on our subconscious brain, based on what experiences we have had. So 80% of our actions is determined by our subconscious brain. And the 20% where we
Correct.
consciously take steps. And at night, that the transit phase where the child is slightly awake and, getting in the phase of being, completely knocked off, is the subconscious brain which is so active. And talking affirmations, talking positive things will actually incorporate all these things in their subconscious brain. And we have seen those changes
Correct.
very visible in children.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And now, since the parents have their good time with their kids, we are hoping that post lockdown, we are seeing magic in our kids.
Absolutely. We hope that, definitely. So the question is by Akash Agarwal, what age should we wait and watch for the speech development? Till what age should we watch and wait for the speech development?
This is again a good question. See, Mr. Akash, actually, a child has critical development period, okay, going on. So, maximum speech and language development will happen by 5 years of their age. Okay, since up to 5 years, the brain is very fast at learning new skills, new concepts. It is not that post 5 years that the child will not develop. The child may still develop, but the process will become slower. Okay, so as early as you can, if you make the child hear, learn, and talk, the child will have good speech and language development. So five
Right.
years is something that is the benchmark because we all know that till the first 5 years are the most crucial years for any child to develop any skills.
Correct, correct. They are in their highest level of, receptive phase where they are able to download whatever is given, and the brain is also in a very nascent stage and it's maturing very fast. The first 1,000 days of life,
Correct,
what we say. So the next question is,
correct.
will showing different kind of props help in developing communication?
Mm, yes, it might help. It might help. See, props, non-verbal communication is still the part of our communication, okay? Even we do that things. So showing props, maybe something like role play with the props will help a child to develop speech and language skills. So a prop can be anything. Uh, it can be anything. Suppose if you are doing say any washing activity. Okay, so in that activity you can use clothes as your props, and you can say, look, mama is washing clothes, mama is washing your t-shirt, it's so dirty, yuck. Okay, see, now we are going to wash the t-shirt, we are going to wash. So you can definitely have a lot of meaningful language with those props because that is something that the child will also be interested in.
Right, right, very true. So, how to make self-talk meaningful is the question.
Okay, you can make self talk meaningful again by modeling. Okay, so if you know that the child is just talking, like if they like if the child says sit down, just saying to herself, sit down, okay. So
Correct.
you can ask the child, whom are you talking to, baby? Are you talking to mama? Yes, mama is here. Let's sit down. You told mama sit down. Let's sit down. So that is how you can turn the self-talk into meaningful talk.
Correct. Correct. And the question is, what is your opinion about reinforcement?
Reinforcement again plays very crucial role. Okay, it can be either positive or it can be negative. Okay, positive reinforcement will definitely have lots and lots of effects on your child's overall development, only other than speech and language. It will also have good impact on the child's brain and cognitive development. So you have to be always ready with your reinforcements, especially when your child has achieved something that you were trying to teach your child. Okay, so reinforcement need not be in terms of something that is expensive. It can be as simple as the the child helped you while doing your daily course, and you can say, "Wow, you helped Mama. You did a good job. You will get to watch TV today. We will watch it for 15 minutes." Okay,
Correct.
so time frame that also. Okay, so that the child is mentally prepared that okay, I'm going to get to watch this and only for this much time. Okay.
Right, right,
So
right.
reinforcements definitely works a lot.
Correct, correct. Okay. So, one more, the last question from my side, and we'll wait, if there are a few pop-ups here of any queries. So,
Mhm.
any general guidelines you would like to share with parents to improve communication and relationships with their children? Certain key essentials.
General guidelines. Okay. Um, I will always encourage my parents to use their daily routines to develop speech and language skills in their kids. Okay, they did not take out extra time to stimulate their child with speech and language skills. They can do it in their daily course. They can do it by something like they can divide their day in different times, that this is it's waking time now, my child, let's wake up. It's brushing time. Let's brush our teeth. Our teeth have become very dirty. Let's brush. Okay. From then on, it's our breakfast time. It's our meal time. It's washing time. Okay. This is playtime. Yes, mind you, playtime is equally important. Okay. And as much of
Right,
playtimes you can have, it is going to help your child more and more. And do not forget to give your child break. Okay,
correct.
after every activity, please give your child enough break so that the child tries to rest and get back with the full bang. Okay. Also, when I say that, uh, uh, divide your day into say times. Okay, like meal time, breakfast time. Do not be strict or be rigid with that as well. Suppose if your child, if you have given some in, it is a play time or say it is reading time, okay, and if your child has overcrossed the time, okay, of maybe in your timetable it is now snack time, and the child is still reading or still is into some activity, let your child continue. Okay, do
Right,
not try to break, because that is something that the child is enjoying. So try to do it as much as possible.
right, right. Very true, very true, very practical indeed. So the question here is, I'm not
Mhm.
sure if it is framed in the right way, but I'll still read out. If the child is 7 years old and non-verbal,
Okay.
then in this case, we should not encourage for language and start AAC board, is the question.
If the child is 7 years and non-verbal,
Non-verbal. In this case, we should not encourage for language and parallel talk and start AAC board.
um, honestly, I would advise you to please speak with your speech therapist, because if the child is 7 years and non-verbal, I do not exactly know the child's level of understanding, because non-verbal means that the child is just not able to say. but we do not know the understanding level of that child. And your speech therapist who has worked so long with your child will be the best person to tell you when is the right time to start AAC board.
Right, right, very true. So the few questions which can be seen are mostly related to sensory. The question is by unspoken thoughts on vestibular stimulation and Mr. Akash. So both of you, there is a separate topic on Thursday on 23rd where we'll be addressing a question specifically related to sensory problems. And we'll definitely take up this, related to auditory, vestibular or any forms of sensory problems. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. We had good questions here. And if there are any
I
questions,
hope it was informative.
no, it was definitely informative. See, sometimes more than therapy, it's the little things how we can make the therapy so meaningful. End of the day, and there is a fine line between how do we initiate the child's self-learning skills rather than imposed learning. How do we blend the play and the therapy rather than being play and therapy being separate? There are so many things which can be blended together and they can actually accelerate the child's progress. So all these little things are very important, what you mentioned, which can be incorporated in, in your daily skills. And this is a good time where family can come up together and they can actually look into these tiny things and make it more meaningful for the children. So guys, if there are any...
Definitely.
Yeah, so if there are any questions related to speech, communication, hearing, please put it down. We'll be live for a couple of minutes before we conclude the session. So I'll just run through if we have addressed all the questions. I hope we haven't missed out on anything. Okay, reinforce. Okay, so should sign language be introduced to 10-year-old child if he has not started talking? The child says rhymes and sings Bollywood songs but doesn't communicate otherwise.
Okay. Now, this question is also, it appears to me that the child has the language but does not have the vocabulary to communicate his or her own needs. That is something that I'm understanding from this. And the child is 10 years old now and not yet started talking meaningfully. So here also I would like to advise you to please consult a speech therapist so that what form of communication can help your child to express his needs. Okay,
Right.
like maybe it can be as simple as pictures, it can be as something depending on your child's motoric skills. The therapist might introduce AAC boards. If the child is good in reading and writing, the therapist might introduce writing form of communication strategy for your child. So with the thorough evaluation, maybe the therapist will be able to help you the best for this situation.
Right. It's better not to take an hasty decision and let there be a proper screening of that child, because we never know, something might come up in a positive way. So yeah.
Right.
So Mohini, I think we are over the time, 20 minutes ahead, what we had planned. So really good session.
Okay.
It was very informative, very productive, and really good questions came up here, and even what I had through parents, what they requested to share with you. So thank you so much for accepting my invite, for coming here and sharing your experience and suggestions for the parents. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harish. And in fact, if there are any parents who are looking out for any assistance on speech and language therapy, they can feel free to contact me. I'm there to share the resources and detailed activities depending on the child's age and everything. Our intervention is very much on. So if anyone is in need, you can let them know.
Right. So there is one question, Mohini, which had just popped up. Are you able to see on your screen?
I'm not able to see that.
I'll read it out for you. So the question is, Can you suggest activities for a 11-year-old child to increase mean length utterance with mild to moderate mental retardation, speaks in 2 to 3 utterance with basic vocabulary?
Okay, okay. So, for a child who is 11 years old and has mild to moderate cognitive retardation, you can use something like picture description, okay, to begin with. So, you can take any picture books. It can be the child's textbooks as well, okay, any picture book, and do not read it word by word. Okay, I repeat, do not read it word by word. You can just read the picture. Like, for example, if there are people in the picture and it's a picture of a garden, you can do that. Okay, so there are so many children in the garden. Children are playing in the garden. Okay, I like to play on the swing. What do you like to play with? You can answer, you can ask those questions during that activity. Okay, along with that, you can also do, since now this is lockdown time, we can also encourage the child to describe any activity that we are doing. So suppose if, as a mother, if I am, say, doing washing of vegetables and anything, so the father can ask the child, please go and see what your mama is doing and come and tell me. Okay, so the child might come back and tell mama is washing vegetables. Okay, so this is the way maybe you can increase the child's mean length of utterance. Along with that, storytelling definitely helps a lot. Okay, introduce new stories of the child's interest every day. Okay, if the child likes any fiction stories, the child likes any sort of stories. Okay, just introduce one story in a day. Okay, if this child is a visual learner, okay, you can show the child one video of the story and then ask the child to describe that story. Like, I can do this activity with, say, the tortoise and hare and the tortoise story. Okay, and I can show the whole video to that child, and then I can ask who was in the story, what were they doing, okay, what do we learn from it. So taking out the meaning from that story.
Correct. I
So
hope
these
that
are the few things that you can do.
right. I hope that helps the parent, whoever has posted that. So that was excellent. So I think we'll conclude now, Mohini. And so this is just for all the viewers who were live with us. So thank you so much for being live with us. And if we have missed out any questions, or if any questions you want to share, you can definitely get in touch with Mohini. I'll share her email and contact number, or any form of where you guys can communicate with her, and hopefully she is able to address those questions. So
Definitely.
Yes. So thank you so much, Mohini. Thank you so much to all the viewers. Stay safe, stay good, be positive, and enjoy this lockdown phase in a quality time with your family.
It's a blessing, I repeat. It's a blessing.
Absolutely.
You don't get this time again and again.
We'll see the better side of it. So thank you again.
Yes.
Nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Harish.
Bye, Mohini.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Stay safe.